Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Big shout out to Flick who sponsor our morning show. This is free, it's an app, download it, links in the video description. Apple and Android, chat 24/7 with other United Stand members, over 10,000 on them now. Make sure you download it and get involved in the polls and everything over there. But let's fly straight into the show. Lots to get into this morning. Very disappointed with the result last night, but can I just say, we've got transfer news to discuss. We've got interesting quotes from Solskjaer, and we've got yet another repeat. It's like UK Gold, a repeat of a transfer shambles inflicted on us, the players, and the manager again from those above. An absolute joke, and it has to. You have to remember this. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said last night, we're getting closer to Manchester City, but we're still lacking a bit. He's talking about players. He's talking about players here, and there's loads of things to discuss. But the first thing I just want to say as well is two things actually. First of all, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof cost us the game yesterday. Anthony Martial's trending again. Bruno Fernandes is getting it in the neck. It's the same old bias in our fan base and in the media to go after the non-English players when the reality is if Lindelof and Maguire could defend, we wouldn't have conceded that goal and it would have stayed 0-0 for a lot longer. The reality is that's where the blame lies. But actually, I don't want to be a hypocrite on this. It's not been mentioned. It's actually true. I say it time and time again, and so do you, that games are won and lost in the midfield. And for the second game in a row, Scott McTominay has put in a below average performance. You play against Manchester City and you play a centre midfielder who puts in a performance like that, how do you expect to win a game? Doesn't get enough mention. Everyone wants to talk about the striker who didn't get any chances created for him. Everyone want to talk about the centre-back where Ollie's made it obvious he wants to buy one. But in that midfield position against Man City, we spoke about it in the preview. You've got to win the midfield battle. McTominay, second game in a row, however many games altogether that people don't think is a CDM. Nothing mentioned by pundits, nothing mentioned by Ollie, no mention of us bringing in someone to replace him. You know what? Actually, is that not, not a rant, not an agenda, not a moan? Is that not a very big issue last night that nobody wants to talk about? Let's talk about the strikers. Let's talk about the centre-backs. Well, let's talk about the game, one of the most obvious areas where games are won and lost, in the midfield. And McTominay was poor last night, and nobody wants to talk about it. And we think we're going to win a title, and we think we're going to win trophies, when we're basically playing with 10 men, with somebody in the midfield who's just getting bypassed. Maybe that's a good point. The second thing I want to say before we get into all this stuff, because there are some transfer updates on three things I need to talk about as well. The second thing I want to talk about is that we got to be really careful here as a fan base. I've said this so many times. I said it in the preview as well. If we lose this game to Man City, they'll be out again. Ollie out, Bruno's shit, Luke Shaw's lazy. All the agendas will come pouring out from those people. And I find it embarrassing. I do find it embarrassing. Not because people don't want Ollie as manager. I get that. Not because people, for some reason, think Bruno's a load of shit. I don't get that. But it's embarrassing. We are Manchester United and we are in a title race. We've lost the cup semi-final and people are saying Ollie out with their chests. They're talking about PE teachers again. They're talking about get this manager out. They're talking about if we'd had a good start to the season, we'd be top of the league. Oh my God, I've spent years laughing at some Arsenal fans for their levels of delusion. We're in a title race for the first time since Sir Alex Ferguson left. We've had the clowns of Moyes, the clowns of Van Gaal and Mourinho in charge of our club. And here we are in January and we've lost to Man City in a semi-final. We've got the chance to go top of the league next week. And people are going, get Ollie out, get him out. And oh, for God's sake, these people in our fan base are beyond toxic. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. How can you be 3 days ago, well, you know what, he's done a bit better than I thought, let's give him till May. Lose to Man City, get him out. I told you, Ollie out. And I'm talking to a small minority here. I'm not talking to Ollie doubters or even Ollie outers. There's a lot of people who don't rate Ollie who've said, you've got to give him till May now. You've got to give him till May. But this toxic minority that are, Ollie out, Ollie out. We're in a bloody title race. I don't know how long we're going to be in a title race, but we're in a title race. And let everyone laugh at us and let everyone say we can't do it. But the reality is, what is your level? Arsenal sack managers because they don't get Champions League football. We are now in a position let me just lay this out because I find it really odd. We are in a position we've not been in for 7-8 years. And yet there are people this morning saying, get rid of this clown, Get him out of our club. He's useless. Ollie out. And I'm like, it's too far. You've gone way too far. This is the whole I want to be proved right FC, not Manchester United. I question at what point do these Manchester United fans actually start putting the club first over this embarrassing verbal diarrhea that embarrasses our football club and embarrasses our fan base by not being Ollie out, but being let's sack a manager when we can be top of the league next week. You're going to make yourself look complete tits next week when we beat Burnley, if we beat Burnley, because we'll be top of the league. And I will say on the show, where's all that lot saying Ollie out now then? So basically, he's not good enough to be Man United manager and must be sacked now, but we are sat top of the league halfway through the Premier League season. How does that work? At least put the club first. At least just not even park it. Just say, I don't think Solskjaer's the right man, but I'll give him till May. And if we don't get top 4, which I don't think we will, he'll get sacked and I'll be right. You don't need to be right now by being idiotic and saying, sack the manager, he's useless. I've been telling you for ages he's useless. Sack him. He's got no tactics. It's bullshit. It really is. It's embarrassing. And I don't normally say that because I don't have a problem with people who are Ollie out. That's not what I'm saying. There are plenty of people who don't rate Ollie, but they've gone, you know what, where we are in the league, let's see where it goes. He's not been backed again. Let's get till May and reassess. But the ones that are going, sack him, he's rubbish, Ollie out, I told you. What are you telling us? What are you telling us? Well, we've lost a cup semi-final. Bullshit. It's not great, is it? But we are in a title race. We need to get some... You can't just keep going. We win a load of games. Oh, one bad loss. Come on, here we go. Ollie out again. It's like, that's not supporting Manchester United. I'm sorry. And who am I to tell you that? And especially when I've had so much shit in the past because being a Forest fan and all this bullshit. So I don't really like saying it. But what's really pushed me over this morning is that we've ridiculed some Arsenal fans for years for being deluded. And we lose one game. And it's like, oh no, get rid of him, he's useless. Obviously, that is really disappointing last night, and we all know the issues, and we do need to improve, and it's very frustrating, but today's a new day. Last night we can digest. We've got a game against Burnley next week, and if we win that, we're top of the league. This is not the time. We can't keep doing this. I said it the other day, as hard as it is, we've got to try and be united as a fan base behind our club for as long as this lasts. You cannot have toxicity about managers when we're in this position because it will feed through. They don't live in a bubble. They do see all this. It will knock their confidence and we have a part to play in that. We've got to try and get at these players in the right way. You know, that's not good enough. But to say sack the manager, I mean, it's just too far in my mind. United are only second because of the COVID and player from other teams got sick. Screw Ollie, says Harvey. Well, that's ridiculous, but there you go. Welcome to the Members Club, Lawrence Drysdale. Out. Ollie was outdone tactically, but he's 3-1-3 against the greatest manager ever, says Sean Finity. What are your thoughts on Ricky saying that Jemba is better than Bruno? Everyone has a bad game. Yet Bruno's not allowed one, says Salah Ahmed. Mate, this is what I'm talking about. I didn't watch Ricky's Fancam last night. I didn't watch Beth's. I didn't see Flex's. I just last night for me, I just wanted to say my piece and get off. And I'm sure people probably don't like what I said. You know, this happens after a loss. But what I looked at is what Solskjaer said. And I mean, I've seen people this morning. It's the world we live in. It's the mindless idiots. It's the simpleton. You know, I'm not talking about Ricky here. I'm talking about certain people on social media who are not United fans who use it for clicks and likes. And it's like, man, last night showed why Kevin De Bruyne is way ahead of Bruno. Well, to be honest with you, Bruno will be Player of the Year over De Bruyne at the moment because it's not based on a Carabao Cup game, it's based on a season, and Bruno's been fantastic this season. On the game last night, of course, De Bruyne was better. Man City were better. This is football. This happens. This is beyond FIFA generation. This is just scary where football's going now. That Bruno has one bad game and people are hating on him. It makes no sense to me. But let them hate. I'm fully happy with Bruno Fernandes. He is the best player we've got. He has made us relevant. He has put us into this position. I'm happy with Bruno Fernandes. I don't need to argue with people about how good he is. I think you expose yourself as a complete and utter idiot with a massive agenda if you don't think Bruno Fernandes is good. And that's all I'm going to say because the facts are there. He had a bad game last night. deal with it. You know, these things happen. This is not FIFA. Everybody has a bad game every now and again. I've seen Cristiano Ronaldo have a bad game. I've seen Roy Keane have a bad game in his prime. Scholes, Beckham, Giggs, Cantona. You know, wake up call to everybody. Just because it was in the past and they're legends of our club, they didn't play well every week. Most weeks they did, much like Bruno, but every now and again there's a bad game. Alliators completely disregarding the treble we did over City last year and how Ollie brought us from mid-table to third within 8 weeks. Pratt, says Michelle. We should be Maguire out, not good enough, doesn't take control of the defence, let alone the team. We bought him in for 80 million to be the solution, but now we're talking about bringing in another centre-back to enable him to play well, says Julian S. And do you think this toxic Alliators are motivated by the board, says Srijit? I just think some people are very angry, but I don't think... Personally, I don't think it's the right thing to be doing at the moment. Look, if we collapse over the next month and we lose 5 out of 6 and we're down to 7th, then's the time to say, look, this manager's got to go in May. But for me, it's not about, if you're Ollie out, I don't mind. It's nothing to do with me if you're Ollie out. But what I will take issue with, and it's only my opinion, and this is the whole point. I'm not saying you have to agree. What are we talking about Ollie out for now after a loss in a Carabao Cup semi-final when we can go top of the league next week? It's May. That's when he's going to go, if he's going to go. And at the moment, I don't think he will. But if he's going to go, it's May. Demanding a manager gets sacked because you lose one game. You know, do you not find this tiring? Do you not find this tiring that we could beat Burnley next week, be top of the league, and then lose to Liverpool the next week and it'll be Ollie out again, even though we will still be top of the league because we'll be on the same points as Liverpool? You know what I mean? This is not... I don't think some people put Manchester United before their own I want to be right. And that to me is just a weird... It sort of fits with the whole I support a player over a club, I support a manager over a club, and now I support my opinion over my club. It's like, we surely want United to win. We know this is a weird season. We know it's not going to be a vintage, we're the best, but it's hang about. Look, Man City on their day are better than us. Liverpool on their day are better than us. But if they keep dropping silly points to Leeds and bloody Brighton, and we keep winning those games, even if they beat us, we can still hang around there. That's the thing we're trying to do. Last night wasn't good enough, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but the title of the show is Solskjaer's Transfer Shambles, right? Last night was disappointing, says Chloe Watson. Simple defensive mistakes, no service to attack. Players got what we deserved last night, we move on. Exactly. There's a couple of things I want to talk about here. Casido is now apparently going to Everton. This is the latest story. Even though United have been looking at him, you know, again, it's just this incompetence in the board. Let's take it away from the players and the manager for a moment. Last year, virtually to the day, about a couple of weeks on from this, we lost at home to Burnley. We'd been talking to Bruno Fernandes and Sporting Lisbon before that. We didn't get him in for the Burnley game and we lost. And Solskjaer lost 3 points. And those 3 points could have lost us top 4 at the end of the year. But our board don't give a shit. They don't. They're incompetent at doing transfers. And we lost to Burnley. At the start of this season, we lost to Crystal Palace and we lost to Spurs and we nearly lost to Brighton. We lost 6 points at the start of the season because our board, again, were acting incompetently in a transfer window. Cavani didn't come in till after that. Telles didn't come in till after that. And we didn't get the centre-back or the right winger that Ollie wanted. And yet again, here we are for the how manyth time across the last 3 managers. We are in a transfer window. We need a centre-back. It should have been lined up on January the 1st. We don't even know who it is. We're probably not going to get one. And last night, we saw exactly again. Solskjaer loses a game because the board do not provide him with the players. What did he say after the game? Or before the game? He said, Bay's played 4 games in the last however long. Tonight's a night for Victor and Harry. Now, you can read that one or two ways. I personally think he dropped Bay to bring Lindelof back in, and that's a huge mistake. Or he thought, I can't risk Bay, I'm going to play Victor and Harry. Whatever he did, he wouldn't do that if he had the centre-back that he needed. Because as I said at the start of the video, he also said, we're closer to City, but we're still missing a bit. We're missing a bloody centre-back. He spoke about conceding goals from set pieces. 2 goals from set pieces. And he spoke about it again. He knows how many goals we've conceded from set pieces this season. And it's a farce. And that falls on your centre-back pairing. Whether it's Bruce and Pallister, whether it's Vidic and Rio, the reality is set pieces, balls into your box, primarily are the job of your centre-backs. Ollie knows it. He said we're still missing a bit. We haven't got that centre-back he wanted in the summer. And last night, he couldn't play that centre-back because he hasn't got that centre-back because yet again, this board is not backing a manager at this club. It's a bloody shambles again. Whether it's Burnley, the start of the season, last January, we are losing games and we are losing points because we will never achieve what we want to achieve as a football club when we are not dealing the way Liverpool or Man City do. They run professionally from top to bottom to win titles. We don't. We're doing it with one arm tied behind our back all the bloody time. Because no matter what we achieve on the pitch, and we've done quite well on the pitch considering the start to the season, we have done very well. But yet again, we didn't get the transfer window we needed last year, and we're not getting it again now. And if we do it in the summer, the season's over. And we probably won't do it then either. We've got to open our eyes to the fact that every transfer window, it's a letdown. It's a shambles. And we lose games because of it. We haven't got the centre-backs we need at that football club. Both centre-backs last night on the first goal, which was the killer goal, let the ball go across them. 2 of them. That is unforgivable. Regardless of price tag, regardless of whether one's better with Eric Bailly or not, that's got nothing to do with pace. That is defensive basics. Neither of them attacked that ball. Unforgivable, costs us the game. He wants a centre-back, he hasn't got one. This is no different to the situation last year when Ollie was virtually on the, loads of people were Ollie out before Bruno came in. We couldn't create chances. We were basically playing with 10 men because we had no number 10. We were bloody awful. We brought Bruno in and everything changed. What's different to the situation we're in now, where we're a better team, but we're letting in so many stupid goals because of our centre-backs. You bring a good centre-back in and everything will change. But we won't do it. We don't do what's glaringly obvious. And it's so frustrating and it undermines everything we're trying to do. Because no matter how many miraculous results Ollie gets or good results or whatever, we're still not off the pitch doing what teams like Man City and others are doing anyway. So we're always behind no matter how close we are. It's a shambles. And the board, again, I'll read you this one. You're going to love this. Absolutely love this. This is from United District, quoting Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic. Just sit down and act calm because you'll fall off your chair here. If you've got a seatbelt, put it on. Manchester United have received more scouting reports on Dayo Upamecano, and they have not wholly been conclusive. Movement against speed coming at him and his mobility laterally is a concern. He's a player you won't be expecting to see at United anytime soon. We're talking like we're top of the league and we're elite. So we're going to not get Upamecano because his movement against speed coming up against at him and his mobility laterally is a concern. Have you seen the Prats we've got playing at centre-back? And we're concerned about Upamecano's movement against speed coming at him and mobility laterally. I tell you what, I bet he can clear a cross into the box that's right in front of him. The stupidity of that whole report. Now, whether it's true, whether Laurie's pulling out his arse, I doubt it. Where that's coming from, whether that's coming from a source at the club, we're now saying no to centre-backs because of the quality of Dayo Upamecano. What are we doing as a football club when we are dissecting Upamecano's game so much that, we don't need a player like that? We are shit at the back, lads. We're awful at the back. Beggars can't be choosers. Now, I'm not saying that Upamecano hasn't got his weaknesses. I'm sure he has. But come on. We cannot be saying, you won't be seeing Upamecano at United anytime soon because he's a little bit slow on the turn. Bullshit. Come on. Look at the defence. Look at the centre-backs we've got. Come on. We need to, if we're at the stage where we're turning down players like Dayo Upamecano, I can't wait to see that the players that we've apparently got because we haven't got them. So this is the concern, isn't it? The shit that will get put out there to make fans think we don't need a centre back. We've got eyes. We're out of a bloody cup final. Look, here's an interesting stat for you. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the last 12 months has lost more semi-finals than Sir Alex Ferguson did in 26 years. If that's a stat you like, I don't really know what that stat does, really. The reality is, I think in every one of those semi-finals, it's been on our centre-backs. Certainly Sevilla. Somebody said last night, it's Shaw and Wan-Bissaka again. They're the same back four as Sevilla. And I'm like, bloody, are you that stupid? Like, Luke Shaw didn't play against Sevilla. It was Brandon Williams. And it was the back four collectively on both Sevilla goals were shit. Just like they were yesterday. So we're losing semi-finals, we're losing games, we're dropping points, we're conceding goals basically because our defence ain't good enough. Ben Anderson, Ricky's comments are absolute joke. Massive hater, constantly highlighting poor performance from players that he dislikes. I'll have to watch it, Ben. I mean, obviously, I love Ricky. I love what he's got to say, but I'd be very disappointed if he's not highlighting the centre back Scott McTominay from last night. I'm not Ollie out. I'm Ollie out, says Red Baron. But I think it's a bit of a myth that we're doing well on the pitch. We have been quite lucky this season. I don't see it lasting. I mean, that's an intelligent point from Red Baron there. You know, I have said this. Fine margins. I know Ollie likes the word fine margins, but you can flip it the other way. West Ham, they should have had that game won at half time. We get to come back. Sheffield United 3-2 were hanging on at the end. Southampton 2-0 down at half time. Last minute winner from Cavani. Brighton last kick from Bruno. You know, Wolves last kick from Rashford. You know, Aston Villa last minute block from Eric Bailly. They're all wins that could have been draws. So that's 18 points that easily could have been 6. We could be 12 points worse off. So, you know, there are fine margins. But winning games when you're not doing badly is part of it as well. And we have played well in games. But thought Maguire had turned a corner past few games, but last night exposed his main weakness. Indecisive under pressure and hesitant. Clear the ball, it's becoming a joke. He must learn its basics, says Nick M. I think that Harry Maguire played really well with Eric Bailly because it's a partnership. The Lindelof and Maguire partnership looks a shambles because it is a shambles. Neither of them are confident, and it just infects the team. When you play Harry Maguire with Eric Bailly, he's got somebody who's quick. And you know what? Eric Bailly on that cross, it might have gone for an own goal, but he would have got something on it. He put something on it. Shin, arse. He put something on it because he knows how to defend. When there's a ball in the box, he knows he's got to get something on it, and neither of our centre-backs did. My only problem with Ollie is he can't go toe-to-toe with the top teams. He has his favourites, he's stubborn, and he can't rattle players the way Klopp does, says Tariq. Well, look, you know, there's plenty to talk about there as well. Salah Ahmed says, just seen a tweet on MUFC that there are talks with Os and Kabach. What are your thoughts on that? By the way, we need defenders that have pace and speed. Kabach isn't quick enough, is he? Apparently, Salah. I mean, I don't know loads about him. He's the lad at Schalke, isn't he? He's not quick enough. We need a quick centre-back. So Kabach, to me, if I remember, there's so many. There's Kabach, there's Medina, there's Badashil, there's the lad at Braga, Carmo. There's so many, you lose your mind. But I think Kabach is the Turkish one at Schalke, who's not particularly fast, but is left-footed. My concern with him would be the pace, and Salah is right there. City won without any strikers on the pitch. Maguire was awful as usual. Bruno's tired and uninspired. How's our worst player the captain of the team? One could make the argument that Ollie has moved mountains to get us here, given the holes in the squad and incompetence above him, like Mourinho, says Sean Finity. And I think that's the line to go with here, is that there's definitely Ollie doubt, but he's in till May. All I want to see is, I don't mind the criticism. I don't mind the whole he got it wrong last night. I don't mind the fact that he's got favouritism, and there is favouritism there. I mean, McTominay is being picked now because, for what reason? Why is he getting picked? I'm not even talking about Donny van der Beek. Matic could have done the job. Why is, there was somebody said to me last night, and this is really true, and this will bring it home. So you're telling me Paul Pogba is now being moved out of position to left wing to accommodate Scott McTominay. That's where it hit home. Like, Pogba's best position is where McTominay is. That's where he plays for France. Yeah, you want him to get forward, but his best position is where McTominay is. We're putting Paul Pogba on the left wing so that we can play McTominay there. We're putting Nemanja Matic on the bench so we can play Scott McTominay there. We're not giving Van der Beek any minutes so we can play Scott McTominay there. And he's underperforming there. Put McTominay on the bench. I'm not talking about selling McTominay. I'm not saying McTominay's totally shit. Because people have to just say, oh, you hate McTominay. It's not about that. It's about, he's a good squad player. Put him on the bench. But for God's sake, stop playing him in the midfield next to Fred. Like, it was redundant. They were awful yesterday. And that's the level. He might be good against Burnley, but the level is Man City. That's what we've got to aim to be. We are in a title race. We've got to aim to be beating Man City when we play them again at the Etihad. You've got to put Pogba in there. You've got to put Matic in there. You have to do that. And Ollie spoke about... we missed Cavani last night after the game. I've got to pull Ollie up and say this is wrong. I saw Martial trending this morning. I expected it. There are people in our fan base that hate Martial. There are ex-players that don't like Martial. The media will go in on Martial because he's not English. I get all that. He didn't play well last night. I agree. But for Ollie to come out and say we missed Cavani last night, his movement in the box would have been good. For what? For what? Like, I'm sorry, there are some things you have to pull up. For what? What movements are you going to do? The Agadoo, the conga? I mean, what's Cavani's movement in the box going to do? We didn't create anything. There was no good balls into the box. There wasn't, Martial didn't get a chance. He can move around as much as he likes. He can do Gangnam style. He can do whatever he bloody well likes. There was no service. Cavani would not have had a good game yesterday. I think Cavani might have held the ball up a little bit better than Martial, but that's Martial's strength. There was nothing going on in the box. Every time Rashford got it on the right, he tried to shoot. Pogba wasn't even playing left wing most of the game. There was nothing coming in from the width. Wan-Bissaka barely got forward. Luke Shaw tried to get forward, but we kept ignoring the overlap. Bruno's passing was off. Pogba was out of the game on the left wing. Fred and McTominay were doing nothing. Where was the creativity for Cavani then? Sometimes bullshit will come out, and I feel it's deflective. It's like, we missed Cavani. Anybody who watched that game, we didn't miss Cavani because we didn't create anything. If we'd have had 4 or 5 good balls into the box, I'd have gone, maybe Cavani would have got on the end of that. If Martial had missed 2 or 3 chances in the box, I would have gone, Cavani would have buried them. But sometimes you can't rewrite history on a player. The player we missed last night was Eric Bailly, not Cavani. Eric Bailly would have pushed the defensive line up, compacted the midfield and changed the game. That's what we missed. To say we missed a striker who would have had no service is poor. We missed Eric Bailly, we missed Nemanja Matic, we missed Paul Pogba in the midfield. For me, the biggest mistake was McTominay and Lindelof and Maguire. Tactically, that screwed us up. It made the game too big, it made too much space. Talking about a bloody striker and we missed Cavani, that's playing to the simpletons who go, yeah, if Cavani played, we would have won 4-0. Off what? Thin air? Sometimes you've got to look at a game and go, their defence was very good. We never did anything creatively behind Martial to penetrate that defence. And movement's nothing if you're not getting the ball. And you can't say on one hand, Bruno had a bad game, Pogba didn't get in the game, Rashford put no crosses in, and McTominay and Fred were redundant, and then say, but if we'd played Cavani, he would have scored a hat-trick. Where are those chances coming from? Those players around them still didn't do enough. Fred isn't good enough, says Tom Williams. We should play Van der Beek instead. He's better on the ball, and Maguire had a good game, but Lindelof can't be a sweeper, says Tom Williams. You know what, Tom? I don't think Maguire had a bad game, and I said this after the game. In my player ratings, I gave him a 4. Overall, he wasn't bad. And this is the thing you mustn't lose sight of. We're talking about a centre-back pairing here. What you think about the individuals is up to you. I thought Maguire and Lindelof are a joke, and I think this has been a bad joke for a long time. But with Eric Bailly, Maguire looked good. He looked a lot better. And last night, he was okay. He was sweeping up okay. He won a lot of interceptions. He did a few blocks. But he ruins his whole performance by not defending a simple ball into the box because that's his job. So you can't say... Somebody said to me this morning, Lindelof and Maguire didn't even play that bad. You are judged on that one moment. David De Gea can make 3 saves against Burnley next week. But if a cross comes in and he fumbles it into his goal, we remember that because it's unacceptable. That's where Maguire and Lindelof cost us last night. That one moment where you need them to do their job and they cost us the game. I don't care whether they made some interceptions. I don't care whether they made some blocks. The reality is their overall game wasn't terrible yesterday. They didn't really have anyone to mark though, let's be honest. And Maguire's played well with Bailly, but last night it was back to this calamitous centre-back pairing that just costs us games. Centre-backs let us down. We've spoken about that. Pogba said we're disappointed and annoyed after the game. Well, I'm not going to go in on Pogba here, but to be honest with you, this is cheap talk now. 4 losses in semi-finals. I can't be listening to, we're disappointed and annoyed as a bunch of players. I mean, it gets to a point where it's, and this is the saddest thing. I'm not disappointed and annoyed. If we get to another semi-final this season, I expect us to lose because we're bottle jobs. This is what we are. The players being disappointed and annoyed, you've had 4 opportunities to do something about it and you've bottled it every time. So being disappointed and annoyed and putting that out publicly, I mean, Pogba's got to say that. I'm not, I'm sure other players are going to say it. I'm sure Bruno will say it. I'm sure Harry Maguire will say it. But it doesn't do anything. You're still bottle jobs. So what if you're disappointed and annoyed? If you can't, you didn't turn up yesterday. Regardless of tactics, regardless of team selections, a lot of players didn't turn up yesterday again. They've got to move past this disappointment and annoyed and get focused because, does it mean anything to you this morning that the players are disappointed and annoyed? This is happening too often. Reason I don't trust Ollie yet, even though he's lost the Ollie out status, is because his decisions and what he says are obviously wrong up front so many times, says Sigurd. And you see Ollie's comments on Bruno that we can't rely on him to inspire and produce magic on his own. Also, it sounds or seems like Bruno will be rested by Ollie. I think Bruno will not start against Watford and Van der Beek will start, which will be good. He said he was going to have a word with Bruno about it because Bruno wants to play every game. Well, I'm sorry, the manager needs to pull in on that. 3 steps forward, 1 back, says Scott B, which is an improvement, Scott. You know, it used to be 2 steps forward to 2 step back with United, so we're still moving forward with 3 steps forward and 1 step back. And there is, look, you know, there's still a naivety in what the coaches do and the players do because he's learning on the job. That's still the case. That's the sort of manager we've got, but there is progress there, and I just think, you know, try and hang in there till May. Just joined and seen some news that Donny wants meeting with United, looking for a loan move this month back to Ajax. Gutted for him, says Sean Negative Turner. I don't know where that's from, Sean. I don't know where that is from. Off topic, games killing it. So disappointed, says RJW. And we are over-depending on Fernandes for creativity, says Yusuf Hassan. Which is why I think he's trying to get Pogba into the team, to be fair. The scariest thing is that if the opposition plans for and nullifies Bruno, we do not create anything. Van der Beek has to be used for McTominay in these games. Fair point. Let me just bring you some transfer news as well. So I said that Everton are apparently ahead of us for Casido now. I mean, this is just only one report, so I still think we will get Casido, but it goes back to the title of the show. Shambolic in the transfer window again. The transfer window has been open 8 days. We've been linked to Casido for about 3 weeks now, and you know, still nothing's happening. On a centre back, fuck knows. I'm sorry to swear, but what is happening with the centre back situation? We've just lost the semi-final because of our centre backs again. Like, if he rested Eric Bailly last night, that just shows you that Eric Bailly can't play every game. Harry Maguire plays every game, so we're having to rest Eric Bailly, which I don't think we did. I think we dropped him. But if we did rest him last night, it just shows why we need a centre-back. Because our best centre-back can't play every game, which means you have to not leave him. You have to leave him out for games against Man City, which are cup semi-finals. We need a bloody centre-back. Get a bloody centre-back. Robert McCormack says McTominay is hated on here, 100% pass rate. Some people will rate McTominay. I think he was a shambles last night. I think everybody knows it. It wasn't Matic should have played. But some people will think he played well. I think he's had 2 bad games in a row. He will keep playing, Robert, though. Don't worry about that. If you like him, you know, get the name on the back of the shirt because he's going to keep playing more and more games. And obviously with Fletcher in the club, people think that will mean more games for McTominay. I don't know about that. But there you go. Thomas Hall says, I rate Bruno, but Kevin De Bruyne is clear. But mate, so what? Like, it's like when Arsenal fans say Martinelli's clear of Greenwood. So what? Does that keep you awake at night? Is that what football's become now? De Bruyne is better than Bruno. Martinelli's better than Greenwood. Oh, so fucking what? So what? What does it matter? I wouldn't swap Bruno for De Bruyne in a million years. I wouldn't swap Greenwood for Martinelli in a million years. Since when has football been about that player's better than... Oh, Son's better than Rashford. Oh, couldn't give a shit. Well, we're ahead of you in the league. You know, I don't care about those things. I care about Manchester United and I care about progression as a football club, not individuals. Bruno played badly last night, but where we are in the league is because of Bruno. If you think De Bruyne is better than Bruno, go and buy a shirt with Fanta pants on the back. I don't care, because the reality is... I care about where Man United are. I care about us building a team. I support Manchester United. We could win the league and De Bruyne will still be better than Bruno and I will not care. We could win the league and Greenwood will still be not as good as Martinelli and Arsenal fans and I don't care because Man United have won a title. I don't care whether De Bruyne is better than Bruno. I've said it myself. I still think De Bruyne is better than Bruno, but this season I think Bruno's been better than De Bruyne in the Premier League and deserves to win Player of the Year in the Premier League where we are at the moment. Hazard was a better player than a lot of players in the Premier League, but his consistency wasn't always there. People blaming Martial last night like he was at fault for our defensive shambles last night. He's a scapegoat for people to blame. Well, people will always scapegoat a player, Jamie. They will. That's just the way it works. And unfortunately, we do have people in our fan base who are going to do that. And there are people in the Arsenal fan base who blame players and don't blame others. It's just the way of the life. We've got to get on with it. But we haven't got We've got Cavani back for Burnley, so maybe Martial will find himself out of the team again. On the transfer news, apparently Rojo is going to go to Boca Juniors. This is coming from ESPN. This can only be a good thing. I would say this is a bit of positivity this morning, so please smash a like on the video. We need some positivity. Rojo to Boca Juniors, it looks like it's going to happen. However, we've got to wait for Ed Woodward to do his magic again, because instead of this being a very quick deal, this will probably be our big deal of the summer, of the January transfer window, where we remove Rojo. But he is a centre-back. He does need to go, and we need to get him out. My fear is that this is why Romero didn't go in the summer. We will turn down money because we want more money. The reality is Rojo is going to be nowhere near this team. If he goes for free, get rid of him. He's on 80 grand a week anyway, so Boca Juniors are barely going to be able to afford that, let alone give us a transfer fee. Just get rid of him. Cut your losses, Ed. Just get rid of him and move on. Create the space in the squad. Let's not piss about. The other news is a right back, Laurie Whitwell as well, saying that Manchester United want a more experienced right back. And this is a train I want to get on with, because it's true. You look at Luke Shaw, my man of the match last night. I think a lot of people thought he was man of the match. But if you look at Luke Shaw over the season, I think, again, he has been probably our best defender. Some would say it's not hard to be our best defender, but Luke Shaw consistently is our best defender. I think from last January, you could say the same thing again. We definitely missed him at the end of the season when he didn't play against Sevilla, and we had to play Brandon Williams. But the running theme here is that Luke Shaw, from last January to the end of the season, his game went up a level when Brandon Williams came on the scene. This season, when Telles came on the scene, his level's gone up. This shows you that when there's competition for places, genuine competition for places, some players respond. And Luke Shaw has. I want to see Telles play more. I wish he was right-footed, but unfortunately for Telles, Luke Shaw's playing really well. So Telles can't get in the team. So it's a shame, because I like Telles. On the right-hand side, Wan-Bissaka has been very inconsistent. I thought he looked very suspect last night. Thankfully, Foden never really got the better of him, but he didn't look assured. And he didn't look good going forward again. Wan-Bissaka needs competition at right-back, the same as what we've got at left-back. Because, to be honest with you, there are times this season where Wan-Bissaka shouldn't be starting games, but is starting games because we've got nobody who can push him at right-back. So we do need a right-back. It's not essential as a centre-back, but we do need a right-back. And I know that we want Kieran Trippier. There's been talk of Max Aarons. I think they want a more experienced one like Telles at left-back, because they want somebody that can just drop in straight away. If you bring a Max Aarons in and then he's got he needs time to nurture, he's young, then Wan-Bissaka remains the experienced right-back. I think what they want to do is bring an experienced right-back in to push Wan-Bissaka. And I do agree with it. I think Wan-Bissaka does need pushing at right-back, because whether it's a tactical reason that he's out of position, whether it's positional sense from himself, there's a lot of players that find themselves out of position in United's team at the moment, and I think defensively we're not well drilled, but Wan-Bissaka definitely does need some competition. I think we could all agree with that one, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm happy with our progress, says Moses. Despite that defeat, we only need to replace the one-to-way Pogba with Grealish and a better centre-back, says Moses. Look, this season's going to be up and down. We're going to disagree. We're gonna get angry. We're going to get happy. We're going to get confused. For me, and I can only give you how I feel, and you must, that's the whole point of this community we've built. That's the whole point of being a United fan, is you've got to hold on. Whether you like United Stand, whether you like fanzines, whether you like Twitter, ultimately, every Manchester United fan must have their own opinion and must have their own criteria and must, back that. But surely the thing that binds us all is that we want Manchester United to be successful. If you're offering me, look, imagine this, right? Man United can win the league, but Scott McTominay will score the winner. Well, of course I'm going to take that. Yeah, every day of the week. But I think that we've got some people in our fan base that are like, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can win the league or he'll finish 7th. And I genuinely think there are some fans out there that won't choose the league, they'll choose the 7th because they want to be proved right. And I think that's the best example I can give. I will take anything for Manchester United to win the league because I want Manchester United to be successful. I don't want to be proved right on anything. I want Manchester United to win. But I'll guarantee you, we know, and you know who they are. They might be a friend, they might be a dad, they might be somebody on social media, but they're out there. You know they're out there. They're out there last night and they're out there this morning. They would, if they were offered a title with Ole or 7th and Ole gets the sack, they will go with 7th and Ole gets the sack because they don't want to they want to be proved right. They don't want Man United to do well unless it's on their terms. If it was Pochettino winning the title, oh yeah, I'll take that. because I want Pochettino. Sometimes you don't get what you want, but you have to put your club forward. You have to put them first. I just think, in my opinion, whether you're Ollie out, Ollie out, Ollie in, whatever, let's just see where this train's going till May. If he doesn't get top 4, I think he'll get the sack and he'll be gone because he's only got a year left on his contract. If he gets top 4, I think he'll get a new contract. If he wins the league, he should get a statue. Let's see where we're going to be in May. Predictions are fine. Oh, I think he'll be, I don't think he's good enough. We won't win the league. Let's get rid of him in May. Fine. Let's see where it goes. But Ollie out, he's shit. He's got no tactics this morning when we've got a massive week ahead of us. Well, a week and a half with Burnley and Liverpool. We can't just keep bouncing from one extreme to the other. It doesn't do the club any good. It doesn't do us any good. You've got to have, in my mind, you've got to have an opinion, but you've got to have a plan. My plan is, if Ollie fails, he'll get sacked in the summer. If he doesn't, he'll get a statue if he wins the league, and if he gets top 4, he'll get a new contract. And I'm happy with all of those things because ultimately they're right. But to start creating toxicity and I'm right FC just after a game last night. Sometimes you lose games of football, I'm afraid. I watched United for years and years under Sir Alex Ferguson. We won trebles, we won titles. But sometimes we lost games as well. And sometimes we lost 2 or 3 games in a row. And the press made out it was a crisis. But we always bounce back. We just need to be a little bit more. I'm disappointed this morning, and I am. But I feel like we need to draw a line under it. Ollie's the one who's got to learn from last night. He's got to learn that we lost the midfield battle with McTominay and Fred. He's got to learn that we played too deep with Lindelof and Maguire and they cost us 2 goals. He's got to learn that Martial did play badly, but so did Bruno, and we didn't create anything. Ollie's got to look at those things and tactically change it. But the board have got to give him a centre-back as well. And we as fans have got to stick behind this team until it gets to a point where that dream is over. And it's not over yet. We've still got that dream to cling on to, and we should still do that. So look, I am disappointed, but I think we've got the best fan base in the world, and I just don't want us to become an embarrassment whereby we lose a game of football when we're still in a title race and Ollie out's trending. I just think, that's self-preserving. That's self-serving. It's not serving the club that we love, in my opinion. But everyone's got an opinion, of course they have. Please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Ben Anderson says Wan-Bissaka is a massive issue in this team. Right back, left back, get most of the ball during 90 minutes, and he's nowhere near the level of the ball going forward. I think Ben's right on that one. And I want United to win the league, but he promised to play the United way, which he isn't at most. He needs to stop the favoritism to change the haters, says Arthie. But then again, against Villa, I thought we were brilliant. Our last game out, I thought we were brilliant. I thought Villa were brilliant as well. I thought it was an open game. And Villa are one of the better teams in the league at the moment. I just think against Man City yesterday, we were tactically undone. I don't think Man City were that good. I just don't think we adapted. And I think he was scared to adapt. He didn't want to make the changes. He didn't want to change the defensive line. He's got to learn to do that. If he'd made 4 changes in the second half yesterday and brought Bailly on and played a higher line and we'd lost, I would have gone, he did the right thing. Sometimes making a change is the bravest thing to do, and sometimes sticking with it and watching a game simmer out isn't. But hopefully he will learn from that, and he deserves the opportunity to learn from that, because we are, whether you like it or not, in a title race. Let Liverpool laugh at us, let Man City laugh at us, let Arsenal laugh at us. I don't care. I believe we're in a title race at this moment in time, and we are. Let's see where it goes. Thanks everyone for watching. Be back again at 2 o'clock. I'll speak to you then. Hopefully we might get some transfer stories bubbling up about a centre-back, because I tell you what, that's the one thing as well. He wants a centre-back. When are they going to get him one? Speak to you all soon. Make sure to download the Flick app. Links in the video description. You can continue the chat 24/7 on there. This transfer chat, all sorts going on. I'll speak to you in a bit.